If you can't do it brave, do it scared. Good morning, I'm Elijah. You're listening to the Street Cred podcast, the show laser focused on helping streetwear brand owners turn their side hustle into a full-time career. Welcome, and before I get into this thought that we're unpacking this morning, I want to let you know very quickly in the next 30 seconds about my community. It is on school and it's for streetwear brand owners just like yourself. There's 87 or 88 of us now, and on there I have a streetwear marketing course that is totally free for you to consume. So go to the description if that sounds anything interesting to you, and I know you're going to love it. But what does it mean to do something scared? Even it's a scary thing to do. It is a scary thing to do, but you do it anyway. And that's, I think, what I really believe the essence of bravery is. It's not to approach scary situations without fear. It's not to be fearless, but rather to do things that make us fearful anyway. And of course, I mean, if it's a legitimate fear and we're fearful for very good reason, and there's a lot of reason, like it's just if it's a dumb thing, maybe the fear is a good thing. Maybe it's a good idea not to be brave in that moment, and it's a good idea to listen to our senses and actually not doing something that could put us in danger. However, there's other times when there's things in business, I know for myself, where it's a task that I know I have to do, or I know it's going to help me. And you might feel like you're in that boat. You might know exactly what I'm talking about, or maybe you don't. But I'm sure you will after I tell you this story. So I was coaching a girl in my streetwear marketing coaching program. And let's give her a name. Let's call her Jane. And Jane came to the conclusion that in order to share her brand's message with the world in a way that reached the people that she wanted to reach, she would have to do something scary. And that scary thing was to go and make video content in public. And the inspiration for this is Simon Squidge. If you've ever seen Simon Squidge, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He posts these videos where he walks up to strangers and he asks them out of the blue, what's your dream? And sometimes he even goes about funding them and helping them get there. But they go viral because on social media, the truth is if you can break the norm, if you visually, like if the most common type of video on social media is talking head, and because everyone has a phone and everyone can pick it up and film in their room or whatever it is. However, if you can break the norm, for example, talking to strangers like man on the street, that is something that is going to break the scroll because, excuse me, because people don't see it as often. And so this is what we were going to do. And Jane's brand message was all about expressing yourself and getting out there. So she was going to do this. She's going to ask strangers questions on the street, something to do with, what do you, how do you express yourself? Or do you fear being yourself? Something along those lines. This is a scary thing. If you've ever seriously thought about doing a man on the street, or even just talking to strangers in general, full stop, even for us extroverts, it is a scary thing to talk to people that probably aren't going to they're going to be taken aback by you coming to talk to them. And so Jane and I, half of our work together is strategy, is coming up with the video ideas themselves. The other half is just mindset. It's going, well, this is a scary thing. How do we get over this fear? Not to be brave in the sense that you're not fearful of it, but just to do it anyway. And so this is what I said to her. Well, first I asked her, Jane, do you think this is really going to have a big effect on your business? Like, do you think it's really going to be that impactful? And she goes, yeah, absolutely. I think this brand, these types of videos, if I can get over this and just do them, can really turn things around for my audience and my growth and really hit on a string, and create that shareable content because people share stories. And I said, well, Jane, look, I agree with you. So I presented this to her. I said, you've got two options. You can do the scary thing that you know you must do, or you can return to your day job. You can go back to working. You can find a secure week to week paying job that's going to provide you the income you need to survive. And you don't have to talk to strangers. And you don't have to make this video. And I asked her, which one scares you more? And she answered very quickly. And she said that returning to my day job scares me more than going out and filming one of these videos. The point of this exercise and me presenting it like this was to simply reveal to Jane the perspective. If we can zoom out sometimes, we can see the greater perspective. And sometimes all it takes is to put it into perspective to fuel that bravery. Not that you're not fearful of it, because, Jane was still, even though she was more scared of returning to her day job, she was still afraid of making this video, of going and talking to strangers. What if she got punched in the mouth? What if she got a no? What if she... rejection's a real thing. However, framing it like this and putting stakes on it sometimes is the push. It's the motivation we need to actually get out there and do it. So, dear streetwear brand, whoever's listening right now, you may not have to go out and shoot a video in public, but I can almost guarantee you have something that you want to do, that you dream of doing. Maybe you've had a good idea in the past and you're stuck right now. And you're stuck because of fear of doing it, right? What is it going to work? What will people think? What are my parents going to say? What's my partner going to say? Am I going to lose money? Is this a good investment? Is this a good investment of my time? Zoom out. Consider, if this goes well, how well could it go? That's what we did with Jane. That's what Jane and I did. If this goes well, we decide, if you pull off these videos well, they have the potential to go uber viral. Because everyone is scared to make them. And the ones that are brave enough to make them anyway are the ones that reap the reward. So consider, what is the consequence if it goes well? And then consider the other side of the coin. What's the consequence if you don't do this? Because that's very real too. I think we are never void of consequence. It's just about choosing which consequence we are going to accept. Are we going to accept the consequence that comes with being afraid and doing it anyway, which is maybe a good consequence? Maybe the bad side of that is that you're fearful and you have to get outside your comfort zone, right? So there's bad consequences to that as well. And the other side of the coin is the consequence of not doing it. That you'll never know the potential that you could have reached if you had have done it. The other thing is that people, I feel like, this is a whole nother conversation, but people really get stuck in the cycle of inactivity. And what that is where they have a good idea, and I'm victim to this too. I have a good idea, and then I start overthinking the idea, and then I procrastinate the idea, and then I never do it. And it never comes to pass. And that's the reason, most ideas die in planning. Planning is the death of ideas. And in fact, your genius lies on the other side of execution. I really do believe that. So whatever this thing that you're fearful of doing, the temptation is to plan it. Don't do that, right? I don't know if anyone's told you not to plan before, but I am right now. I'm telling you, don't do that. Because that is going to be the death of the idea. And if you want to see your idea come to pass, just start. Because the best thing that you can do in the beginning is momentum, volume, reps. Get those reps in. You can worry about the quality of the work later. All right, I think that's really important because quality, people get stuck up on quality. Like, for example, if Jane started out making these man on the street in public videos where she's asking strangers big questions, And she was so worried about it being perfect that she needed to hire a cinema camera and she needed to hire an entire editing team. It would never see the light of day. The video would never see the light of day. However, just by going out and making a video that's not as good as it will be in the future, she gets to find her genius because she's executed, and she executes again and again and again. So if you cannot do it brave, do it scared. And you know what? You can absolutely do it. There's a lot of things. I mean, you've come this far in starting a business, in starting a streetwear brand, or maybe you haven't yet. Maybe you're still getting started. My point is, that's a big thing, to go out into the world and even decide that you want to do something as big as this. You're deciding, I'm not going to follow the conventional. I'm not going to follow the carved out path. I'm going to create somewhat of my own. That's a big deal. And so you're already halfway there. You just got to do the same thing again and again and again. Get good at doing it scared. And I'm getting better at it myself. I'm not perfect. Okay, that's all for this. If you can't do it brave, do it scared. So, yeah, I hope this episode was valuable. If you found some value in this episode, please send me an email. My email is in the description, or you can just go to email me at Elijah at... No, it's actually not. Scrap that. It's lige@elijahdelport.com. That's LIJ@elijahdelport with an E at the end.com. Very simple, right? Not really. But anyway, it's in the description, so don't miss that. So yeah, just email questions. If you have a question, if you have a topic, if you have a comment or a testimony you'd like to share about the show, something you've implemented that's been really helpful to you, please share with me. But other than that, I will see you tomorrow for another episode. Go daily podcasting. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.